I looked at my cell phone, it was 2:15 p.m. And I was like, shit, I'm past the time that I'm supposed to be working. Normally I start at 2 p.m., but I started rushing. I was trying to get to my building as quick as I could. Press the elevator button. Of course, one of the elevators were down, so that put more stress and anxiety on me. By the time I got upstairs, it was like maybe 2:30, and I still hadn't eaten either. I was getting frustrated because I'm like, I should have already started working. Why am I not already at my desk? So instead of eating, decided to sit down and start to try to schedule, of course, that upload some content. Because while I was trying to force this content out, I could feel my body start to tense up, right? I couldn't get a good position in my seat, in my chair. I kept moving around, like moving my body around to see if I could angle myself better or position myself better in the chair. And maybe like every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I'd be looking outside or checking my email, right? And what I realized after trying to force myself to focus and start cranking out content, I realized that nothing was set up the way that it should have been. Meaning, when you're moving from or transitioning from one act to another. So in my case, I was coming from a walk, right? And usually I do my verbal releases on my walk. I'll do my brain dumps, and empty I'll empty my mind, right? Just allow whatever needs to come out to come out. But then now, coming back home and transitioning into, okay, it's time to work, it's time to focus. I like to say create. It's not really work anymore. But you guys get the point. And when I looked up after the 30 minutes or so, I realized, I couldn't get in my groove. What's my environment like? What's my setup, right? Like at home. Other than my desk, right? I was sitting at my desk where it normally is positioned, and my chair, and my plants, because I love to have my flowers, right? I didn't have my candle lit, right? I didn't even have my candle on my desk. Big one, I didn't have my music. I didn't even select my music, right? And I know myself enough to know that I have to set that tone, set that mood for me to feel comfortable, right? To start transitioning into creator mode. Let me know in the comments if that makes sense, because I know some of y'all that have been, that are artists, right? And artists can be any type of creation, right? You guys know, and content creation too, right? So more or less that you need to have a certain kind of setup. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because even before you do any kind of verbal release or you want to brain dump, you're going to need to curate your environment. Environment, I'm sure you've heard the saying, environment is everything. It is. I'm bringing it up because if you notice, when you're around certain people, and this is going to hit harder for my more sensitive beings out there, but if you ever notice when you're around certain people or you're in a certain space, there doesn't have to be people per se, but let's just say for this example, when you're around certain people or when you go into certain spaces and places, right? I'll just use my corporate job. Every time I would come in there, I would go there, it was like as soon as I hit the parking lot, y'all can relate. Anybody who's worked a 9 to 5 can relate. But even more importantly, the place where I was supposed to sit and do my work, it took some time to get into the groove of doing my work. It would literally take me about 45 minutes to actually get into a groove. Why? Because as soon as you hit that environment in that office, first of all, the lights, the fluorescent lights, the bright lights, the artificial light, it felt like you were under a microscope, if that makes sense. Also, we had cubicles. I can't even say it's a cubicle because it was huge. It was an office. Pretty much, you had a mini office. It's just that it was open, right? And it was set up like cubicles. But you had a lot of space. We had furniture in each of our cubicles, our desk, our personal computers, and whatnot. But it still didn't take away from the fact that it was a cubicle, like a square, right? Where you were boxed in. You know that feeling? And majority of the people there, they're miserable, especially the higher ups, the people that were in managerial positions. They were just miserable. And usually when you work for people or you report to people that have a certain type of attitude, it's kind of natural for you to start to adopt that same kind of attitude because you're around them, right? It's not like you have a choice. You have to be around these individuals from time to time. Between the lights, the cubicles, and the not so fun personalities to be around, it took some time to get into that groove. So I'm saying that to say environment definitely does have a huge impact on how you're able to go from one state to the other. In our case, if you're a content creator, if you're an artist, someone who sings, someone who plays an instrument, right? A painter, singer, actor. I think I mentioned singer already, but usually people that are in that kind of space where you're doing some intentional creativity, you're going to have to curate your space. There's no way around that, right? So I mentioned in my previous video, for me, I have like a flower, I have a plant on my desk, right? I have my laptop, and then I have my desk that my laptop sits on, and the plant, it's plain, minimalist, dark chocolate oak type desk. And I have my candle. That's it. I may have my cell phone too, because I use it in conjunction with my laptop to create content. But the point is, it's very minimalist. Like it's there's not much going on the desk other than what I absolutely need, right? And of course, I have my desk also facing outside. It's facing nature. So every time I even happen to look up, all I'm looking at is green, like the trees, right? The bushes outside, right? Other flowers. Because I'm in a high rise, so I'm over residential homes, but majority of it is crowded out by trees, beautiful, green, lush, right? And for me personally, symbolically, that represents abundance for me, right? So when I look at that, it's like a reminder of why I'm doing all of this creating. You know what I mean? Even neuroscience talks about, the effects of your environment, what happens. Like your brain is literally scanning. I think they said like your brain is like scanning your environment 4 times per second. Some crazy number, or like 4, I don't know, but it's like basically it's scanning. Actually, let me see. Just see. Neuroscience, okay, shows your nervous system scans your environment 4 times a second. So it's true. 4 times a second. That's madness. But what it's essentially saying is your environment's not a luxury. It's not decoration. Like this is like when you see people that actually like put time and effort into curating their space, there's a reason for that. They may not know that, but their subconscious knows why. Their nervous system knows why they do that, right? And you too, like just all I'm saying is if you haven't spent the time to do or like curate, start to experiment with different things like that you might just like just things that appeal to your 5 senses. Like, just sweet smelling things, right? Like get a candle, get a nice sweet smelling candle and put on your desk, or wherever is safe in your room, right? That you're going to use to create. And I would suggest having a plant. I know some people are not really like into plants because you got to maintain, you got to water it, right? But it makes a big difference and it's beautiful, especially if it's a plant that blossoms flowers, like flowers bloom. Man, oh man, oh man. I don't know, lately, this last season, when I do my walks, I usually walk by like water, really nice neighborhoods, and they have a lot of nice, beautiful flowers, especially because it's summertime, right? And I've been taking mad pictures of just like flowers because it's just beautiful. I don't want to lose that visual, you know what I mean? So eventually I'll use it for content, but all I'm saying is like, yeah, if you can, just have a small baby plant, something alive other than you in your home. Right? Put on your desk. See how you feel. Just see how you feel. Try it for like 2 weeks, 30 days and see, right? And again, I'm going to say music. There's 3 things that I think everybody enjoys in this world. It's music, food, and I think you guys know what the last one is. I'll just use the word specs. You guys can figure it out. Food, music, and specs. I think everybody enjoys the 3. Variations of it, different styles, different kinds, different flavors, but I think that's a consensus. Everybody enjoys those 3 at some degree. And so for me, music, I'm an R&B junkie. I am an R&B head. I'm very particular what types of music I listen to when I'm about to focus, and I want to focus on my work, if I'm doing content creation or editing, uploading, scheduling, anything like that. It has to be, like certain types of sounds, particularly R&B, which like that has a lot of bass, drum, heavy. It's very grounding for my nervous system. And so I'll have that going while I'm, creating. It also helps when you have your environment set up the way that you like it to be set up, that your nervous system will relax it. So a part of getting really good content, now I'm speaking directly to content creators, and you can create content about anything. So I guess I'm speaking to all of y'all. But essentially what I'm trying to say is, if you want your content to be as authentic and as organic and as raw as possible, if you really want people to feel you and understand where you're coming from, you're going to have to really spend time learning or getting acclimated with what spaces you feel the most safest in, and then curate your environment. Make your setup that way, right? In your home, if you're more of an outdoors person, outside, by water. That's what I do too from time to time. You have to really lean into curating your environment the way, set it up the way that you want, exactly how you want. So that way, when you're ready to verbally release and say what you need to say, your nervous system, your body can feel safe enough for you to let down your guard, for you to say what you need to say. Because like I mentioned in the last video, yes, we all wear masks from time to time, and there's a lot of censorship that goes on when you're with certain people, right? Because of lack of safety, they do not feel comfortable speaking their truth even to themselves out loud. And so this is a really, really, really prime reason, probably the most important reason why you have to spend time really like curating your environment, setting it up the way you like it, finding out what you like, what you don't like, what dysregulates you from what doesn't, right? Most of us here, we're natural speakers. This is probably a good time to open up an app and just a quick voice note, say, hey, I noticed that, you know, when I'm under these types of lights, it just doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? Or my thoughts just flow when I have my music playing in the background, my R&B music, right? And then you have those little thoughts caught by the AI, whichever LLM you're using. You can go back to that and you can literally have it just create you a list. You know what I mean? So then now you have a running list of what is it that you need in order to curate your environment, to really personalize your environment the way that you see fit. Make sense? I just wanted to talk about environment a little bit. And of course, if you want to know more about environment, I have a guide that's included in my Voice First Method bundle, and you can pick it up there. And there's a little bit more of a deep dive and some other resources to other individuals that I found on YouTube and other spaces online that really delve deeper into environment, and just little tidbits, things that can help you set up your environment. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There isn't. This kind of space that we're in and the information that I'm giving you guys, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's literally, all I'm here to do is just pass on some information on how you can best express yourself, right? And environment happens to be one of the ways that helps you, that supports you in expressing yourself in your most realist and rawest form. I hope that helps. I'll be back soon. Thank you everybody who has checked out my content, and if you have questions, again, like let me know what for the people that do already curate their environment, what are some of the things that you can't live without, like you can't not have in your environment, right? Whether it's plants, your music, even your blanket. Some people don't even create at a desk. Maybe they're on their couch, maybe they're on their bed, right? So let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you guys. Peace.